All right, all right, all right. As soon as I went live, you hopped in. So that's perfect timing. All right, all right, all right. Welcome everyone. Welcome 27 Squad, Hope Watchers, and everybody out there. Appreciate you guys joining in. And welcome back to another edition of the Young Guns podcast. We got some news today, but before we start all of that, Kush, what's up, bro?
I'm numb right
Me too,
now.
man. Me
I don't
too.
think there's much else to say or much else to react in terms of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Just numb, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I see Soda Party in here. What up? Sober Party in here. What up, man? He's from the Discord and stuff. How you doing, man? And Sunday.
Sunday, what's up? Welcome in, everybody, as we wait for more people to jump in here. I need to make sure this thing is live. We got, okay, now they're starting to come in a little bit. Logan in the building. What's up, Logan? Marco Polo, what's going on, everybody, as we're waiting for this notification to pop up for everybody. So yeah, guys, listen, it's getting harder and harder to stay optimistic when it comes to making these podcasts, making these streams, but we gotta stay, I guess, energetic for for this team for
Is that
whatever
possible?
reason. I know, for whatever reason. So I guess we got a lot to talk about. Not sort of like news to talk about, because obviously we had the Isaiah Wilson story, but as far as where this team is heading and what we think the problem is, who is the blame, I guess we could talk about all of that kind of stuff. I mean, pretty much what everybody's been talking about for the last past week about how what this New York Giants team is missing or what they need to get rid of. Um, but that being said, how'd you feel about last game, man? How'd it feel?
I mean, I feel like the way we ended our stream was pretty indicative of how I felt, right? Like the game ended, we just sat there in silence for like I'd say a minute, and I was literally like, "Yeah, I'm ending the stream." Was that not how it went, or something like that?
Yeah, I think that happened for that and the Washington game. As we found out that that kick needed to be re-kicked, and then it was good. Kush was like, "All right, that's it, we're done. All right, cool." I'm like, "All right, fine. No, yeah, we're good. We're done."
It's I don't know, man. That Falcons game. Listen, I already thought after the Washington game, and this is on record. I thought that right after the Washington game, I thought that it was over. The season's over. After the Falcons game, I once again think it's over. The season's like I don't see a way that the Giants could sort of make a run or a comeback or make some
Mhm.
type of anything good out of this season.
Do you
And
think
what I-
that?
what I what I mean
Mhm.
by that is I don't want people to come at me right now and say like, yeah, they could still make some good. They could make progress. They could, show improvement. All right, that's not good though because we entered this season
With
expecting with
expectations?
certain expectations. We made off-season moves with certain expectations, and as long as we fall below those expectations, and not everybody expected playoffs, but everybody expected at least, I'd say 9 wins. I would say most of the
Right,
fandom expected
right.
at
The
least 9 wins.
majority.
As long as you fall below that, it's not good. Then that's what I mean by that.
And that is the exact issue here. Like, I'm constantly keep getting people on Twitter, people on in the YouTube comments talking and bringing up the 07 and 11 New York Giants teams that went 0-2. I think both those teams went 0-2 to start. And people
No, it was
constantly,
just the oh
just
seven.
07, just the
Yeah,
07. Okay. So, I mean, people keep bringing that up and saying, "Oh, well, that happened. Well, that can, this can happen." I mean, they've been saying that for like what, 10 years now,
yeah,
talking
basically.
about that situation over and over. And it gets so bland. And it's like, do you really want to put your trust and hope in that one season? You know what I'm saying? Like, constantly they're bringing, like, if this was 2014, fine. Fine, you can mention that. This was 2014, which, by the way, in 2014, they were. I was probably one of those people saying, hey, we started 0-2 at this point, and, and this, to me, is a lot worse than 2020, because 2020 we were going into rebuilding expectations, COVID year, first year head coach. We just wanted to see some improvement and progress, and we started 0-3 in that in that season as well. But this is different because this is a New York Giants team that was set to be a playoff contender, a team that can fight for the chances of becoming the kings of the NFC East, trying to fight for that NFC East division, and we start off in the bottom. I mean, for crying out loud, the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles, who were supposed to be the worst team in this division. Well, it's not like they're any much better than we are. I think they're slightly better right now as far as playing than we are, because they are 1-2, and they only really shined against the Falcons. They mollywopped them, but this year is so different from 2020. Okay, I like when we were 0-3 back then. Was I heartbroken? Of course. Last year I was heartbroken. We were 0-3 because we kept losing games the way we were. But in the back of my mind, I always knew, this is a team that just is trying to improve. Okay, but this is a team that's supposed to have it all together. Okay, and it seems like they've regressed. I mean, I think that 2020 team was better than this 2021 team, and that's insane to talk about because, especially on paper, this team is way better. I mean, we've lost pretty much Dalvin Tomlinson. You can't tell me Dalvin Tomlinson is the reason why
Alone is the
this
reason for the entire
exactly.
struggles on the
There's
defense.
no reason why, and it's like it's very frustrating. It's
And
absolutely very
I see
frustrating.
Marco Polo said we should be 2-1. I agree with you. We should be 2-1.
We don't
But
play
so should
hypotheticals on this channel,
every other Giants team that started 0-2.
right?
We've said that every single year. The year
You
I
want to
keep
know?
comparing it to the most is 2017. I've been saying that I think since week one, both on Young Guns, on my own channel and videos. I've been saying that since week one. Kibble, you notice I've been comparing it to 2017 for a while now.
Right.
Let's not pretend as if before week 5, that Chargers game when everybody went down, and this Atlanta game was very similar to that in terms of the amount of injuries we had and hits we took to the injury, to the amount of people that were injured. Until that week 5 game, we were in every game. We were beaten by that Jake Elliott field goal.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay that year, we were also beaten by a field goal. That was a team that also should have been 2-1, but we simply weren't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't feel like it's productive to bring that up.
It's also not productive to bring up hypotheticals because we can't go back in the past. We can't change what happened. Obviously, I hate when that's another thing. When people say we should be, we should be, we should be. You guys got to remember hypotheticals are for our team and the other team we were playing. Like there's probably, how many times have defensive backs dropped picks with Daniel Jones? I mean, they're playing hypotheticals too. So we want to keep playing a hypothetical game, in the Seahawks game, the Seahawks could have won. You know what I'm saying? So like there are plenty of hypotheticals to go around for each and every team. So when people say we could have won this game, we could have won this game, that could have put us at 9-7. I mean, at the same time, there are games that we won that hypotheticals come into play where we should have lost the game. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I hate playing hypotheticals. It's such a heartbreaking thing to do because there's nothing we can do to change it. We're just sitting there complaining. So I mean, and you're absolutely right about 2017, dude. And I thought it was so hilarious, dude, when we were streaming the game and they were showing the Giants offense. I think it was the offensive stats, right, in the red zone or something like that, or defensive stats in the red zone, and it matched 2017. Like that was some straight up gematria, freaking exposed. You know how they say the NFL is rigged, exposed. They're showing their subliminal messaging. That looked so freaking like believable. Like he was like, "Look at dude, it spells out 2017."
Exactly. Oh yeah. When they brought up, I was like, "Yo." Literally, because they had it vertically, I was like, that says 2017, bro. You can't tell
in
me
that exact order. It wasn't even mangled. It was 2017.
It was literally 2017. I'm like, I've been comparing to season 2017 so much.
Exactly.
Now I'm
Even in
seeing it
that
on
stream,
TV 2017.
even in
Like,
that
come on.
stream, like before that happened, you kept talking about the 2017 year, and then that pops up. He's like, "Hey, see, I am not bugging." So
exactly. And by the way, shout out to everybody in here, guys. Like the
Yep.
stream up, share it out. I know a couple of people are live right now. There's a couple people on Twitter live as well. But you all know Young Guns is where it at. I see
Yes, sir.
Joseph Balby, Lucas in here as well. I'm back in here. LeBron Riser. Hey, Joseph, shout out. I didn't know. It's been officially a year since he's watching me. He said last year, week 3 was the first time he popped into one of my streams. That's
Wow.
what's up. I appreciate that, man. Long time watcher. Going back though to the Giants. So wow, I actually lost a little bit of my thought that I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I saw somebody say something about Leonard Williams, right? Isaiah. Yeah, if you could highlight Isaiah's comment. I do agree with you a little bit. However, I'm one of the guys that blame coaching more than players. That's me. A lot of that.
Thank you.
I'm not saying that the players don't have any blame at all, because they do. I mean, we all watch the games. We see James Bradbury at times look lost, even though, once again, I still think it's mostly the scheme's fault. We see Blake Martinez before he went down, and this is one thing I called Blake out on this. It's not like I didn't call the players out. I said, why does it look like you don't know how to tackle, bro? We've seen that. So the players have their blame. However, and I'm use Leonard Williams specifically here as the example because that's what the comment was too. We're playing Leonard Williams out of position right now. I believe it was Justin Pennick that made a tweet about this today, where we're playing him not in the position that he was played last year where he got most of his sacks. If I could pull up the
in the
tweet
three
real quick.
tech.
Exactly. Yeah. I think you might know a little bit more about that. I'm not the technical football guy. If you could
I mean,
speak
I
on it.
wish I could be watching film right now, but NFL Game Pass doing me dirty right now, so that I
Exactly.
can't
But
even. Yeah,
currently, we are not playing Leonard Williams in the same
is he
position that he
playing
was playing
five?
last year, where he got all of his sacks and where
He's
he
playing five
was.
tech.
I'm gonna pull it up right now, and where he was more than just a run stopper. Because right now, Leo is still a good run stopper. It's
Hmm.
is that what you call it? Is that pass rush that isn't there, and there is a reason for that. Let me see if I could pull it up in the meantime. While
And
I
yeah,
guess you do something.
yeah. Go ahead and pull it up. I'll kind of build on what you're saying as far as the coaching goes and blaming players. Of course, everybody has to, when you're 0-3, everyone has to take responsibility for something, right? So everyone has to take blame. Obviously, the players aren't playing up to standard, but when you have, and I've said this on a video, maybe I have to make a separate video, but when you have players who've had success together on this team last season, and also bringing in players who's had success on other teams, and then they come together this season and that they're terrible, that you can't tell me that all those players are just bad now, right? You can't tell me what is the common denominator. It is coaching. It is scheme. Okay, when you have bad players in bad positions, I mean, we have good players in bad positions. Oftentimes, they're going to look bad. You look, my biggest example is James Bradbury. I don't listen when James Bradbury was covering in the red zone. That dude is phenomenal. Why? Because he's close up. He's forced to play up close and in man coverage. Okay. How many times do we see James Bradbury line up 8 or 9 yards behind the line of scrimmage or away from the receiver, and the receiver runs a 3-yard slant route and completes the ball, runs 15 yards, and we're blaming James Bradbury? That's not James Bradbury's fault. He can't catch up 6 yards of separate, like maybe 9 yards of separation when a receiver is running a quick little slant route and finding the open zone. Okay, it is complete. When it comes to James Bradbury, I don't think he's terrible at all. At all. I think he's still the player he was last season, the 17 forced incompletions, the 3 interception cornerback, Pro Bowl cornerback he was. Okay. Did he make the Pro Bowl last year?
Who?
Bradbury.
Great
Or was he
question.
snubbed?
I could look that up right now.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Besides the fact, though, he still is that same player he is today. The only thing is that Patrick Graham got a lot more softer. And if you notice on all 3 of these main
Yeah, he
coaches
did
that
make
we
the
have,
Pro Bowl last
he
year.
made
Yeah.
the Pro Bowl. Cool. If you notice, all 3 of our coaches that the main 3 coaches that we have displayed a lack of confidence in our players in some way, shape, or form. You look at Joe Judge and him calling field goals. You said it most. You're the aggressive guy. You always say you want to go for it on 4th down. Sometimes I think it's outlandish, but a lot of times you are well within your right to think that we should be going for it. 4th down and 3 is from the 10-yard line. You know what I'm saying? And there were plenty of times where I'm like, even I would go for it. I would consider myself more so safe and conservative, but sometimes I'm going for it. You know what I'm saying? First quarter last week. First quarter, it was like 4th down and 3. We were like inside the 10-yard line. Oh, no, it was 4th down and goal. We were inside the 10-yard line. We were a little pushed back. We were still inside the 10. 4th down and goal in the first quarter. I'm going for it. I want to set the tone in the game.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
And shout
saying?
out to She Got Sports in the chat.
Yep.
I found it, by the way. It wasn't my bad. It's by our dude, Diggy. Our guy, Diggy. You already know who Diggy is. He was the one that said this. He says, and this was in response to somebody talking about Dalvin Tomlinson, obviously, right? He says, they're playing him out of position. They're lining him up as a 4-3-5 tech defensive end most of this time, and his pass rushing is best while at the 3 tech defensive tackle, which is where he was played most of the time last year. So they are playing him not necessarily in a different scheme, but they're using a lot of these players differently than what they did last year.
And I don't understand that. And then, especially, back to the point with the soft, a lack of confidence in our players from these coaches. We mentioned Joe Judge and his time management and lack of aggressiveness, wanting to go for it on 4th down. That's his example of not having confidence in our players. Jason Garrett's obviously, we've always known him and his conservative play calling, curl routes, comebacks, hitches, whatever the case may be. And then, obviously the run game is very predictable. And then you look at now Patrick Graham, a guy who was pretty aggressive. I mean, he didn't blitz a lot last year, but we got to the quarterback. We were able to get on these receivers, play a little bit closer, play more aggressive. Now this year he's playing soft, conservative, playing not to lose, a really bend but do not break type of mindset where you're playing cover 3 zone in a 3rd down and 3. It doesn't make any sense to me. How do you play cover 3 and play soft cushion on a 3rd down and 3? You literally have to run to the sticks. They need 18 feet, dude. They need 18 feet to make the 1st down. Not even. No, 3rd down and 3 is 12 feet.
Never forget the Giants punted while on the enemy's 39-yard line.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
Never forget the Giants punted while on the enemy, being the Falcons, one of the worst defenses in the league, 39-yard line, when they could have tried and go for it, but if it was really that much of a stretch, because like KB says, I'm really aggressive with going for it on 4th down, but B, they had Graham Gano, who could have 100% made that kick. What's the yardage from 39 yards out, bro? What, like 50?
It's plus 17. Wherever the yard is, plus 17.
So plus 10, 49, plus 7, 50.
I'm terrible at math, as I just displayed. So
56.
56 yards.
You're telling me Graham Gano can't make a 56-yard field goal?
It's a challenging one, but it's one that Graham Gano can make.
He hit a 55-yarder week 1
he hit a
with
60,
more to go.
Dude, he hit a 63-yarder against us to win a game with Carolina. So Pop's in the building. He says Tom Coughlin had bigger balls, and absolutely right. But if you notice something, what got Tom Coughlin fired is not only just not having a winning record, he was very soft. In his final years, look at 2014, 2015, he was constantly going for field goals. We were losing games by field goals, and games that were decided by like 2 points, 1.3 points could have been in our favor if we would have went for it here, went for it there, and got more aggressive and gone for the kill shot. But constantly with Tom Coughlin towards his latter years, he was getting conservative, playing not to lose, and it wound up losing him football games. But absolutely, you're completely right. Tom Coughlin back in the day was definitely a lot more aggressive and definitely wanted to he played to win the game, not play to not lose the game. You play to win the game, you get aggressive.
I said absolutely, that literally. That's cran grape.
Cran grape, baby. Cran grape, not cranberry, because cranberry is way too bitter. I gotta add the grape in there.
Yeah, sometimes it edges my teeth.
Yeah, cran grape is where it's at, man. 15% juice right here.
I'll say this. And Ligma said, "How did my test go?" Because I had one half today. The other half is tomorrow. So incomplete as of right now. You know what I'm saying? They split it into 2 days. But talking about this Giants team, you're talking about play to win versus play not to lose. That's something I've been saying since week 1, and I'm very angry that I have to continue to say it 3 weeks later. How is it something we spot week 1, but the coaches can't fix it 3 weeks later?
That just seems like the epitome of every Giants season.
Let's be honest here. It's not as if we're seeing something that everybody in the chat isn't seeing, or we're seeing something that casual fans aren't seeing. No. Every single fan is seeing this. Every single fan is seeing the decisions that are being made. They're seeing, and now we talked about how Patrick Graham is being absolutely terrible and don't know how to use players on the defensive end. Everybody's seeing how we're just straight up not using Kenny Golladay on the offensive end, and this dude is already fed up. Yeah. Week 3, 3 weeks into the season, you're a big free agent signing. Your number 1 receiver that you're supposed to treat as a number 1. Once again, since week 1, I've been saying, why in the world aren't we targeting him in the 4th quarter? He had 0 targets in the 4th against Washington. I can't tell you how many targets he had this game against the Falcons. He's severely underused. This dude's already fed up with it, because he was asked today, why aren't you getting, or like, why aren't they targeting you deep? He's like, I can't answer that. Yeah, like, this dude is already done.
That means he really has no answer. I mean, he's getting there. And on top of that, it's the routes too. You know, that one reception he had in the 1st quarter of last game where he was so upset that he called the ball and went down or whatever, because he was called to do a curl route. If he ran a 9 route, that was probably a touchdown. But the play call was a curl route, and so he has to do what he's told.
And we joke about curl routes all the time with Jason Garrett. Everybody was happy, including myself. Week 2, it seemed like he grew out of that. But no, he went right back to it. Week 3 was the epitome on the offensive side of the ball. Every single mistake that was made last year on the offense, and everything that we saw week 1. Curl routes, no RPOs, what Daniel was goddamn amazing at against Washington.
No RPOs
no
at
type
all.
of creativity. It was all routes that had terrible spacing and really nothing vertical.
Yeah, and it's insane how constantly again and again you see these problems. And on top of that, I was looking at the statistics between the offense, on the offensive side of the football for these past 3 weeks, and you would be shocked of how similar each player's stat lines are every single week. Sterling Shepard's looking great. Guess Kenny Galladay had 4 receptions for 64 yards in week 1, also had 4 receptions for 64 yards in week 3. Same exact stat lines. Saquon Barkley, his stats are very similar every single week, just a little bit more yards every week. But their stat lines of these players are like freaking identical through 3 weeks. What is that? What is that telling you? The game plan has not changed. They're not changing the game plans. They're coming out of the game with the same exact freaking stat lines every week. Daniel Jones is right around that 250-yard mark every week. He's not going under. He's not going above. He's so stagnant. Every offensive player's offensive player stats are so stagnant. That tells you it's the same game plan every single week. They're not changing it. And it doesn't make any sense because what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I mean, I can understand that they want to stick to what we have, stick to what they got because they practice it all off season. And that's what they have. But it's different if you have an aggressive mindset and you're like, we want to stay aggressive because at one point it's going to break and we're going to have a big play downfield. I get that standpoint that every once in a while you want to get aggressive and you want to keep staying aggressive. But I've never heard anybody say, well, we want to keep staying conservative because at one point it's going to work. If you suck at having conservative plays, if you suck at playing like so conservative and throwing hitch routes all the time, if you even suck at doing that, you shouldn't even be coaching in the NFL. Like if you can't game plan to just throw curls and slants and chip shot stuff, what's the point? What's the point? And you're not even trying anything deep. And a lot of people are saying, well, we don't know if it's Daniel Jones or Jason Garrett. I mean, this is why there's film. And obviously, we don't have a lot of film to work with because of NFL Game Pass, but this is why there was film. If you look at last season, everybody was like, well, you can't see what's going on downfield. Those are coming from non-film watchers, okay? Most of those routes going downfield are non-existent, okay? Darius Slayton sometimes was missed. Daniel Jones sometimes misses him. We've seen that sometimes this season. It happened a lot last season. But the majority of the time, most of those routes, there's no options for Daniel Jones to go intermediate with. Like there's no, crossing route going over, freeing up. I mean, it's literally curls and stop routes, which are all based on timing. And timing is big with the offensive line, and our offensive line isn't that good. It's a freaking domino effect, guys. It's a domino effect, and it's exactly why it's not working. And the fact that we're sitting here talking about this and kind of picking apart of what's going on, and they can't figure it out, like, geez, what are they doing? What are they doing? How could they not figure out that these curls, these timing routes are useful at some points? Like if you have if you have a second down and 16, right? You got sacked on first down and it's second down and 16. You want to call some, curl routes on the outside coming back to the ball to gain some yards that you lost. Fine, albeit, and sometimes you even gain back all the yards you lost because the defense sometimes isn't expecting it. But if you have it constantly, like first down and 10 and second down and 2 and all this other crap, I mean, how do you expect to move the ball down the field constantly? I was shocked that Daniel Jones was able to get the ball off constantly with, Kenny Galladay running a curl here. And then on the opposite side, it was the same thing with Darius Slayton on the opposite side. Like, I don't know how the defense didn't catch on to it as fast as they did. But eventually, towards the end of the game, they do. They do catch on to it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I know at this point of the season, everyone's to blame, like the defense too. But everybody is thinking that we shouldn't be blaming Jason Garrett because the defense is now messing up. Why? You're acting like the defense you're acting like the offense has done anything different than they did last year. Okay, the only thing that's changed is the defense is not being the hero.
That's literally it. Yeah.
Nobody was complaining. Nobody was complaining about us blaming offense when the defense was saving our asses. But what happens when the defense doesn't come to save us? Then we're like, oh, well, don't blame the offense. The defense didn't save us. They were saving us all last year. Can the offense put in some work? Like it'll be different. It'll be much different. Although it would be ironic. It would be the whole Giants way of doing things that our offense clicks and now our defense sucks. But it's not like it's opposite, right? The offense is still stagnant. It's where it was last year, and the defense regressed. But now we want to blame Patrick Graham. Now we want to say the majority of the blame's on Patrick Graham because they're not being the heroes. Since when did the defense have to be the heroes? Can the offense put in some work? We haven't seen it yet. Besides Washington, we haven't seen it yet. I mean,
Exactly.
I don't know why people are like deterring the blame from Jason Garrett as if he's not to blame anymore. I mean, we scored 14 points against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. 14. Come on, guys.
And then I will say, you mentioned one thing that's going to be a great segue, as New York Finest says it. I like the Wilson pickup. You're talking about the line and timing. So, yeah, speaking of the line, the left guard position is cursed now ever since Will Hernandez moved from left to right. Shane Lemieux went down before the season.
Yeah.
We shifted one of our best, if not the best offensive lineman we got to over there. Season-ending, potential career-ending injury hit this man. Prayers up to Nick Gates. Then we sub in Ben Bredesen, hand injury. 3 left guards just down in a row. We're down to now the option is looking like this guy West that we signed off of Washington football team's practice squad, or we move Billy Price, who was at center, to left guard, and then we bring Matt Skura, who's on the practice squad, to starting center. The line is in terrible trouble, and we signed Isaiah Wilson, which is a good pickup for the tackle spot because guess what? The tackle spot ain't much better at right tackle. As of right now, there's literally 2 good spots on this team because Nick Gates went out. There was 3, now there's 2. You know what I'm saying? That being Andrew Thomas, who, by the way, I've been telling y'all since January, Thomas was going to have a bounce back season. He was going to be fine. He was going to end up being the best tackle out of the 2020 draft class. So far, he's looking like it. He's played next to 3 different left guards in each of the first 3 weeks, and he's still doing his thing. He's outplaying by any metric, he's outplaying all the other guys. People forget his injury that he played through last year. People forget the fact that he had 2 offensive line coaches. There was a lot of stuff going on with Andrew Thomas last year, and he's showing why he was the number 4 overall pick right now. But, of course, the media ain't giving it that much attention because it's not nothing bad. But he's doing his thing. Go check out any offensive line metric, man. Thomas is like damn near top 10, top 5 in all of them.
Thomas is doing a great job, and the fact that we never have to mention his name, he's not even being called on penalties. I mean, he's doing a really good job. It's very apparent that he healed up from his injury from last year. You guys know he was playing hurt last year. And then that brings us to a perfect segue here to Isaiah Wilson. You mentioned a little bit about him. Obviously, these two were a tackle tandem back at Georgia, and both of them are first-round picks. Now, in my honest opinion, I'm not going to sit here and say that Isaiah Wilson is the best thing since sliced bread, but Isaiah Wilson, in my opinion, was a second-round talent to me. I don't think he was that much of a, guy I got to draft in the first round.
Well, he was, he was drafted, 29th? 29th, so it's not like
he was 29th.
Major reach or anything.
Right, he was 29th. He was a major, he wasn't he was a minor reach, I think, in my opinion. I honestly don't think he should have been taken in the first round, but the Titans were picking, late in that second round anyway. So I understand them picking him in the first round, getting their guy there. I don't think he's ever played a snap for Tennessee, did he?
He played one single game his rookie year.
One single
against
game.
The Colts.
So we don't even know where this guy is yet. And obviously, if he's taken in the first round, he was a good talent. I can't remember too much of when I scouted him, but I liked Isaiah Wilson. And, if he works out, absolutely, Bark Nasty, he could be a steal of the decade because he's best known as the bust of the decade. So,
let's just get to the elephant in the room. Let's not ignore it. As of right now, Isaiah Wilson looks like one of the biggest busts in NFL history. That's just the facts. But let's look at something else. I find it really poetic that the Giants signed him because a couple days ago, when he issued his apology to the Titans, the Dolphins, and the NFL in general for his conduct, and like he says, he's basically worked a lot on himself to fix himself and his problems, and that was posted on Twitter as well. I was very happy to see that because we talked about Isaiah Wilson earlier this year on the show, and we all agreed, this is a guy that just needs help. He needs the right people in his corner. This is literally off of his rookie year. He clearly doesn't have anybody by his side helping him out, telling him what the right thing to do is. There is nobody to check him, so to speak, and he's just going down the wrong path. And it was really sad to see that happen so early on. Like we
Mhm.
all said, he needs somebody to just literally help him out. And it looks like that's the case. I'm not, once again, just like you, I'm not saying he's going to work out. I'm not saying he's going to be good. I'm not even saying he's going to make it up from the practice squad. I'm just saying he's a guy that's worked on himself. I was very happy to see that. And I'm happy that he's getting a second chance. Poetic that he's getting a second chance with us. Because if he does work out, then it's going to be something great. But if he doesn't work out, it's not a problem either because we signed him to the practice squad. It's not like we're spending anything more than $1 million on this kid. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like he
And
will be
mhm.
if this guy is just a average starter, that's amazing. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We have no idea where he is.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, I'm very happy that we did pick him up because clowns like who was
Oh
it?
yeah, can you highlight that real quick? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's another reason why I also liked Isaiah Wilson because yo, he's from my city. He's from Brooklyn.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
from NYC. Where he is was not far from where I used to go high school and stuff like that. Like, it's another kind of like another hometown thing as well. But it all hinges if he works out. And once again, if he doesn't, I don't know why anybody's so up in arms about it. Once again, we're spending like
Pat
the most
Leonard.
minimum money that we can on him, bro.
Pat Leonard. Pat Leonard is like, oh my god, we cannot sign this guy. Oh my god, it will be devastating for the Giants. How would it be devastating for the Giants? How come Isaiah Wilson can't get a second chance? I mean, obviously he's apologized. Listen, I'm not a guy to go up and just start trusting people because they say sorry. But you look at guys that have had conduct in the past and wound up playing well. Like you look at Antonio Brown, okay? He has conduct with two other teams, just like Isaiah Wilson's situation, right? Messed up with the Steelers, got booted out of there. Oakland got booted out of there, got a chance with Tampa, and he was playing
And
well.
the
I mean,
thing
he's
is,
not, you
Antonio
know.
didn't even apologize. So
Right. Even that. So, guys deserve second chances, and he was a first round pick. He hasn't really got a chance to even prove that he is worthy of being in the NFL, let alone being a first round pick. I mean, he's just trying to prove he's worthy of being in the NFL at this point.
and
And
another
you
thing
have
that
it,
people don't
yeah.
realize is the reason his mental state was messed up. And for those of you that know, what he was doing is like he was smoking a lot of weed. He was getting into car chases with the police. Now that is very bad. But we all know there's way worse things NFL players have done. We're seeing it with Deshaun Watson. We all know Big Ben. If anybody wants to deny it, no, I call him Big Rapist. That dude is a rapist. He got away with a whole bunch of charges. People seem to forget Ray Lewis was involved in a murder case. I'm not saying he did it, but like there's way worse things
It
that you could
seems
be
like to
involved
me,
in than smoking weed and being in a
it
car
seems
chase.
it seems like to
Not
me
that
if
I'm
you're a
excusing it,
star
but what I'm saying
player.
is people are like blowing it out of proportion.
Right. It seems like to me if you were a star player, you're pretty much excused from all of those things because
Yeah.
hey, you're in the show. You go ahead and perform. But a guy like
And
Isaiah
and
Wilson never got a chance.
and what I was gonna say to that is what people don't realize is that this kid, he was basically trying to make it, so to speak. I
Mhm,
don't want to use the term hood or anything, but like he was trying to make it out of his neighborhood. He was trying to make a name for himself. He
mhm.
literally said he wanted to be that kid from Brooklyn that represented his community well and basically made it to stardom. That was his dream. You know what I'm saying? And when he got it, he was just fickle with it.
Mm.
People don't realize that.
Yeah, and so hopefully, he's here, hometown, pretty much the hometown team, pretty much coming from Brooklyn. Landing with the
Oh,
Giants.
oh, go ahead. But Sunday
Mhm.
brought up something that I said in my video
All right,
today.
we
But
can, we
go
can get
ahead.
right to it. We can get right
Yeah,
to
no,
it.
listen. Even though I'm glad we're giving these second chances, I literally said in my video today, my opinion of Joe Judge is steadily going down since week 1. But I'm just like, where was this energy and mindset with a guy like DeAndre Baker, a guy like Aldrich Rosas? Aldrich Rosas is the
I got an answer to
exact
that.
same issue. It wasn't weed, it was drinking with him. He drank, he got in a police chase, and we cut him. Now, I don't mind it too much because we got Graham Gano, and Graham Gano is looking amazing. However, the principle, like you cut him.
I got an answer
DeAndre
to that.
Baker. I don't know if you remember, KB.
Mhm.
Last year, I was one of the biggest DeAndre Baker supporters when this whole thing was going
Yeah,
on.
me too. I was with you, dude.
Yeah.
I was
It
trying to get
wasn't until the whole thing came out about him possibly trying to bribe somebody where I was like, all right, that's inexcusable. But up until that point, I
Mhm,
was the biggest supporter. And it turns out I should have stuck with him because he was proven innocent.
mhm.
He was proven like these dudes were just straight up trying to get money out of him.
Yeah.
Where was this energy then, Coach Judge?
And I got a complete answer for that. And T6 in the building. We're playing the Saints this week. He says Rosas doing all right for us. Yeah, he was a Pro Bowl kicker with us. So I mean, he had a down
Hey,
year one
shots to
time,
Philly
but
Notion in here.
so yeah, Philly Notion in the building too. T6 will be facing Aldrich Rosas this week. So Philly Notion in the building. What's going on, bro? But I got to answer to what you're saying, dude. The whole Joe Judge thing, and this is what we bought into. This is what we all bought
Yeah,
into.
we're guilty
He
of this.
literally did this he did all that Aldrick Rosas and DeAndre Baker thing for like publicity. In my opinion, for to set a standard, to set a tone for us to buy in to his, I guess, philosophy and buy into to the culture he's trying to build here. And then you're bringing in guys that had problems in the past with conduct and drinking problems and whatever the case, weed problems, whatever the case may be. I mean, in my honest opinion, I don't think at this point, I don't think it's much of a big deal to bring in somebody and give him a second chance. But you have a guy like Aldrick Rosas who obviously messed up and had made a mistake, and you get rid of him. It was probably the thing to do to not look like you're soft, right? He had to just set an example, get rid of him to set an example and keep the attention away from him. So that's another thing that I'm not buying into as far as Judge 2. I think most of it, it's crazy for me to say, dude, at this point. I think most of it's a front. Most of it's got to be a front. How can you preach hard football? You're gonna run through the wall. We're gonna play hard football and all.
And
yeah,
we got mad.
Discipline. We're one of the most highest penalized teams in the NFL right now, and we don't go for it on fourth down. Like a guy like Riverboat Ron Rivera is a guy I respect and say that is an aggressive, balls freaking to the ground head coach right there, man. That guy has balls of steel, bro. That guy is gonna go for it on fourth down, no matter if he's in his own 20-yard line. Okay, because he has. We go back to it. The trust in your team. You bet on your own guys to win the game. If you're a coach and you go into a game thinking your team is inferior to the other and you play like it and you call plays like it, then you're going to lose the game 10 times out of 10. If you don't have confidence in your own guys to go out and make plays, you'll never call the plays necessary to win the game. Because at the end of the day, the most plays that win the games are the most riskiest plays to win the games. A thing where you really have to have trust in your own players to get done, and they don't have that. And we keep going back to that because it's quickly so
debunk to quickly debunk a couple of things. I see 3 comments I want to debunk. So Bark Nasty, first one, he says, you know why we're in a position of need? We're 0-3, so we're breaking the code. I kind of agree with you, but I also think a little bit has to do with, setting the tone last year, I really think, which is, looking back on it, I'm not sure how well it worked out. Cookie Monster, he says, you guys don't like Judge. Please give it time. I wish I was on the stream. I'm not at the point yet where I like don't not like him, where I guess you could say I hate him. No, I'm not there yet, but I'm losing a lot of faith in him.
I'm not.
Once again, I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm just losing a lot of faith.
I want him to work out so bad. I love the story of a former wide receiver, special teams coach coming from Bill Belichick and Nick Saban's system to come in here and turn this team around. Obviously, his first press conference gave everybody goosebumps and made everybody want to put on a helmet and run through the wall for this guy. Okay, I want Joe Judge to work out. I am supporting Joe Judge, but you have to be real with yourself, okay? That he is sort of losing me here. I cannot sit here and just listen to his press conferences and say, well, he says we're going to get it done. I love the way he speaks. We're going to get it done. I can't sit when the product is on the field where you have 6 wins in the total of what? 18 games, right? Did we play 18 games? Yeah. 19 games. Sorry, 19 games. 19. I'm terrible at math, dude. But in a total of 19 games, you have 6 wins, and most of those wins you could have won, but you didn't make the aggressive plays to get there. I can't be sold on what you're buying, man. Constantly with these press conferences, you can't keep giving the people the same cookie cutter answers and freaking sort of, I don't know, rah answers to these questions as if you're some tough guy when you can't go for it on fourth down and trust your own players. I can't buy into it. I can't. I want this guy to work out so bad, but I can't.
The other one I wanted to debunk was Edward saying we're acting as if Rosas has a good year. I mean, Edward, you my guy. I know you my guy, so I know you need to clean that ears a little bit. You heard me say I don't really mind Rosas being gone because we got Gano. It was what I was doing is arguing the principle of it, and that's why I brought up DeAndre Baker as well. We got Cookie Monster in here saying we basically still arguing for Joe Judge. He says, don't talk about this smack. We were believers. Yes, we were. However, I just said, I'm not saying I hate Joe Judge. I'm saying I'm losing faith in him. There's a difference. And there's also a difference. I see this with a lot of Giants fans where they don't want to call out when the coaches are making bad decisions. What has Judge done so much of to absolve him of any criticism? If there's legit criticisms to be made, I'm going to call it out. Like, he's not aggressive enough. He's terrible with time management. He can't handle his timeouts. And it seems like through 3 weeks, there's not really adjustments being made where there should be adjustments being
Right.
made.
And
Like
then
those are legitimate criticisms to be made.
so Dan Smith said Judge is a rookie. Judge is not a rookie. I don't know if you noticed, but 2020 was his rookie season. He's going into a sophomore year right now. And on top of that, I don't want to hear any more talk about this goes for Gettleman too.
Oh yeah,
Gettleman
because oh yeah,
and
Edward's
Judge.
saying Getterman should be out of here. Listen, I think I said before the season, if we don't have at least 9 wins, or no, I was like, if we have a repeat of last year where we're like 6 wins or less, he's out of here.
Oh, he's out of here.
That's
Yeah.
just this. That's just the fact of the matter. Like he's gonna be out of here if this trend
But
continues of Owens nothing.
I was one of the biggest supporters of Dave Gettleman. I still support Dave Gettleman because I don't necessarily think I think he provided
Because I
good
believe we
pieces.
have a talented roster. I
That's the
do.
thing. That's the thing. His job is to provide a good roster, and they're just not doing anything with it. But at the same time, it still falls on him with the coaching. He's responsible for coaching too. So, that being said, as far as Dave Gettleman goes, and I'm losing my train of thought here. What were we talking about? Dave Gettleman. Okay. A lot of people are talking about Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge and give them time. Listen, look at the teams that were in our position with us and look at where they're at now. Look at the Cleveland Browns, for crying out loud. They're AFC contenders. Look at the Arizona Cardinals. Cliff Kingsbury was a huge question mark. They're still looking like NFC West contenders right now. You look at a bunch of these teams that were down with us at that point in time, and we're the only team that stayed stagnant. Besides the Jags and the Jets, who the hell cares? Okay. But look at the other teams. We can't keep talking about, be patient with Dave Gettleman. He's been with us for what, 4 or 5 seasons right now. Okay. There's this team is, if they're moving gradually, if they're moving slowly, they're moving really slow. Okay. If they're moving at all, they're moving really slow. Okay. We can't keep saying to be patient with this GM and be patient with the head coach anymore, because although Joe Judge is in his second year, we have to see something, man. We have to see something. I'm not about it's a grind and all that stuff. It's only a grind if it's like 3 years. Okay. We're going to our 4th year right now. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Exactly.
We should not keep defending Dave Gettleman. Although me and Kush were one of the biggest defenders, we shouldn't keep defending all the coaching staff and the front office for them gradually building this team up. When you see the Cleveland Browns and the Arizona Cardinals contending for playoff spots and top seeds in their respective conferences. Okay. So and we're still sitting here looking to the freaking draft in the next coming months. So, I mean, this team has to shape it up, man. This team has it. And on top of that, great that you mentioned that too, Isaiah. Our schedule is absolutely brutal. The Atlanta Falcons were by far the easiest opponent we had on the entire schedule, and we screwed that up.
Yeah,
We
no.
are
The only other comparable team would be Chicago Week 17.
and we literally have the hardest remaining schedule in the NFL. It according to the chart by Jordan Vernon, and I don't think Jordan Vernon made the chart, so I'm gonna trust the chart. But we literally have the hardest schedule, and I believe it because I'm looking at all those teams like, damn, they all have looked good this season. And I know some teams could fall and they could plummet due to injuries or whatever the case may be, and people just suck.
What people forget is that we have a second place schedule because we came second in the NFC East, so we're gonna battle a lot of good teams.
Exactly. And Pop said it best. Gettleman.
And by the way, I agree with what Calvin said earlier. He says you gotta go for 4th down when it sometimes when it allows, and make it or not, it just builds confidence. In addition to that, there was another comment I wanted to highlight. Yeah, SoCal says Aziz is really looking like our first 2 draft stud in the last 3 years. I would argue Thomas as well, but I'm a big Thomas guy, and like I said, we said earlier, he's showing it more this year than he did last year. But we're talking right off the bat. Yeah, Aziz has had more of an impact than of most drafted players we've had for like the past 3 years. Saquon, of course, being the last one in his rookie year that had a really big impact.
And I want to get to this comment here too that Cookie Monster said, Gettleman needs to go. Patience with Judge, breathe, KB. Here's the very big dilemma we had here. And this is stemming back all the way to 2015. When you hire a new GM, you have to allow that GM to go get his own coaches. And that's a big problem that we've had for a while now. Okay, we're firing GMs and we're hiring coaches. You have to hire them together. Let them build a legacy together, because when you keep mix matching them and you keep forcing this GM to stick with this coach, we're screwing each other up right now. Okay, John Mara, when he fired Jerry Reese, I mean, yeah, everybody should have gone. Everybody should have freaking gone up and left. But I mean, it should have started from there. And then when it came to Pat Shermer, a lot of people are very, their opinions are everywhere about this. Nobody's really unanimous in these opinions when it comes to Pat Shermer. But say what you want about Pat Shermer. I mean, he should have gone, but at the same time, Gettleman probably should have been gone too. As much as we hate to say it, because I loved Dave Gettleman at the time. I really want to see what he can do. But I think the best decision was probably to let go of Gettleman too and just restart, rebrand. You know what I'm saying? Now we're in a position where we might have to get rid of Gettleman. Where we're probably going to get rid of Gettleman, and then this new GM that we hire, whoever that person may be, will probably have to deal with sticking with Joe Judge, whether we like Joe Judge or not. We don't know if this GM is going to like Joe Judge. Well, sticking with Joe Judge and sticking with Daniel Jones. Now, I like Joe Judge and Daniel Jones. I would like for them to stay here, but I don't want to be putting our new GM in a bad position where he's forced to stick with another man's draft picks and another man's hiring. It's just listen, GMs are very prideful. You look at Dave Gettleman; he's very prideful. That dude got rid of all the players that Jerry Reese drafted besides Evan Ingram. So, I mean,
And
you have to
shout
allow a
out
GM to
shout out
move.
to Ash Money in the chat as well. We got our Genus, Kimberly Watson, Walltown Beast 88. I think there might have
Yep.
been somebody that I missed. New people that popped in.
Durant
Ivan Big
Osman.
Blue. Yeah,
Yep.
Durant Osman popped in
Ash
as
Money in
well.
the building. What's going on?
Thank you guys for tuning in. We got people talking about the Saints already. Kimberly says the Saints have a really elite defense that bring a lot of pressure and love playing man to man. Might be a long day. I haven't looked at it yet. Can you say anything to that?
One thing I will tell you is that yes, the Saints do play man to man, but Daniel Jones plays very well against man to man. Like even in his rookie season, that's one of his biggest positives, but yet negatives to Daniel Jones's game when people have been scouting him. And something I've noticed too when watching him on film, but it was definitely emphasizing when people kept mentioning it, is that Daniel Jones kills man to man. He's very good with timing. So if it's a man to man on an out route, he knows exactly when to throw that ball. The players get separation, but when he's facing against zone, that's where he gets
But
mixed
here's
up
the thing though.
and
Going back to it,
caught.
if we're gonna be calling a lot of routes that create no spacing and a lot of stop routes,
Right,
there's no point.
Exactly my point. And I mean, they could. I mean, the only chance I would say you would have if a receiver I don't know, a receiver like Darius Slayton or whatever, if he even plays this game, right? Even Kadarius Toney,
Well,
if he
John
just
Ross.
runs,
Guess what? Here's the thing.
John Ross.
It's sad for me to say this. John Ross is going to take his place instead of Kadarius Toney taking his place.
Yeah.
Why are we not? I find it very hard to believe that Toney would be the problem here because of just what we know of him from Florida.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know there was that video going around where he was the one screaming, "What's the play?" When Daniel, I think
that was him, right?
The line.
That was him.
When Daniel changed the play at the line. That's not a good look, obviously. But they ain't giving this man the ball. He got the ball twice last game, and we saw that he created a yard after the catch. But after that, he just went missing. They elected to go Colin Johnson instead. And this brings me back all the way to draft time. The Giants' draft strategy made no sense looking back on it. I thought it was good the night of. I thought it was good a month after. But now looking back at it, it's if Matt Parrott
told you we should have got Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, if Matt Parrott can't beat out Nate Solder, but they had so much faith in him and they didn't even start him, why didn't you draft Rashawn Slater in the first place if you weren't sure Matt Parrott was going to beat out Nate Solder?
Dude, you know, I have allowed myself to be clowned for being a Matt Parrott freaking super fan. Even I was saying I wanted Rashawn Slater. I was willing to put my pride, swallow my pride and say, Matt Parrott, take a back seat. Rashawn Slater's coming in. Okay. I was willing to do that. Dave Gettleman couldn't do that, man. Dave Gettleman said, I drafted these hog mollies, these young hog mollies. I want to see what they can do, you know? And we don't. And then Kadarius Toney, who we don't. And that's not Dave Gettleman's fault, but there definitely should have been. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know these type of things, but there definitely should have been some sort of talk with Jason Garrett about, hey, if I draft Kadarius Toney, would you want him on this team? Would you use him in your offense? If not, then I'm not going to draft him. But if you think that you can use Kadarius Toney, then I'm going to draft him. That should have been the talk that should have been had. I don't know if it was had, but it seems like to me that Jason Garrett and Joe Judge just don't seem to want to get Kadarius Toney involved.
Yeah. And then Stan Arable, that's what I'm saying. That's why I have a very hard time believing that Toney has trouble with the playbook and stuff like that, because we know this kid from Florida. We know he was a hard worker at Florida. We know he knew all the plays. We know he's a beast when he has the ball in his hands, and he showed that for 2 plays. Like, it comes back down to Garrett. And also, this is on Daniel Jones as well, because at the end of the day, even if Garrett doesn't necessarily call plays for Tony, there's definitely going to be a couple plays when he's out there where he could get the ball, but Daniel chooses it to give it to somebody else. Regardless, the lack of involvement with our first round draft pick should be like a fireable offense.
Right, exactly. Not only our first round draft pick, but one of the our highest paid wide
Our highest
receiver,
paid wide receiver.
the biggest wide receiver in the market that year. You know, I mean, that should be a crime. Should be absolute crime when we're using Colin Johnson more.
Yeah. We use Colin Johnson more than we use Kenny Galladay. If anybody in this chat, because there's a lot of Giants fans that hate Kadarius Toney, I think without good reason. All right, if you want to do that, do that. Explain to me why we use Colin Johnson more than Kenny Galladay then.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And it's a funny comment here. Well, funny to me just because where did T6 say that? T6, where is he at? He said, okay, he said, but Lattimore is so elite, man, in man coverage. It's going to be so hard. Listen, I don't have to worry about Lattimore because he's going to match up on Kenny Galladay all game, and they're not going to target
they're
Kenny
not going to
Galladay.
target Kenny Galladay, bro.
Marshall Lattimore will be somewhere off on the outside guarding a curl route on Kenny Galladay, and we'll just be dumping it off to Saquon or Colin Johnson. So
I don't understand it at all, man.
Colin Johnson for the win. Start him on your fantasy leagues.
I don't understand it. And I know I will admit right away, so you guys could roast me on this all you want. I'm gonna put that out there before I say this. But I'm already starting to worry about the locker room being lost because we've seen it before. And like I said, Galladay is already annoyed with the way he's being used in the offense, and he makes it very clear. You know, even his mom on social media was getting annoyed and tweeting at
How
the
many
Giants and
moms
stuff.
and wives are gonna be targeting the Giants for
Well,
their
hey man,
husbands
they're not wrong. I was on
being...
record. Listen, they're not wrong. I was on record last year saying I actually agree with Golden Tate and his wife because they
I
don't
know,
use
me
him.
too, me too.
Like,
but
they
it's
weren't
just
using him at all.
hilarious how
Yeah.
the females got to step in and step up for their men. That's crazy.
It is what it is, man.
That's crazy. Mama going off.
Yeah. Like I would
Oh
feel the same way if
man.
I was Galladay. I'm being paid all this money. I'm supposed to be involved, and they're like too scared to use me.
And honestly, I like that because what does that show? That shows that he wants to play. He wants to be something. Like he wants to have an impact on this team. He's not one of those guys that as soon as they get paid, they're like, oh, I can take a step back now. I'm feeding my family and all that stuff now. No, this guy got paid and he wants to be worth his contract. And what's crazy? Think about the pressure that player has when you're in contract negotiations and you get incentives based on your production and your team is literally not doing that for you. It's like you're playing with my money now. Like Kenny Galladay's mindset. Think about it. What if he had like a certain reception goal, a yard goal, a touchdown goal, all those things, a 100-yard games goal? Now the offense and Jason Garrett, whether it be Jason Garrett, Daniel Jones, Joe Judge, now they're playing with his money. And what if he wants to reach those incentives? It's just like now that's even more pressure on Kenny Galladay, and that's probably another reason why he's frustrated.
That's a great point you brought up. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, a lot of these contracts, a lot of this money that players have, it's based on incentives. And if one of his incentives is, get like, a 1,200 yards on the season and we'll give you like half your money. Obviously, That's not how incentives work, but I'm giving you a very exaggerated example. Yeah. Then, of course, he's going to feel some type of way. If one of his incentives is be like, get your career high in touchdowns, and this man has yet 3 weeks into the season going on 4, has 0 touchdowns, like, yes, of course he's going to be annoyed, which is another thing I bring up. Why would you sign the 2 best red zone threats on the market in Galladay and Rudolph and not use them in the red zone? We run way too much when we get down there.
Yeah.
How about you mix it up a little bit? Maybe that's a reason why we're struggling in the red zone as well.
We get nowhere with it.
Maybe that's the reason. You sign somebody who's supposed to be used in the red zone and you don't use them.
Exactly. Yeah. How many times? I mean, I think the only time we ran a red zone or end zone fade to Kenny Galladay was one time, and that was at 4th and 15 against the Washington football team. It was like 4th down and 15, and we just freaking lob it up for Kenny Galladay. How come we haven't been seeing lobs like that? I mean, I know, granted, Daniel Jones never really had that, but you got to try. And he's one of the best, one of the more accurate throwers when coming to, throwing over defenders. Daniel Jones is pretty accurate when doing that. I really don't have a worry of him throwing a fade route. They're one of the more harder routes to throw because you got to time it perfectly. But I have faith that he would do it. And we just don't. Jason Garrett just wants to call runs up the middle with an 11-man stacked box. Saquon Barkley, who's obviously not the same and obviously not a guy who runs in between the tackles so much as he should. So
Mhm.
it's so frustrating. Like I am not, like, I don't know. Of course, I always like to see my Giants play. I always get a little bit of butterflies when I'm about to see my Giants play. But I am like really not looking forward to this game against the Saints. Like I have a feeling it could be a murder. But the only thing that I'm holding on to is that Jameis Winston doesn't throw for a lot of yards as far as in this Saints system for whatever reason. And his receivers, he doesn't have much receivers to work with. He really does. Like Marquise Callaway started to come on a little bit, but that guy's, that guy's gonna be starting off slow. Like besides Alvin Kamara, and I love Alvin. Oh my god, I love Alvin Kamara. And a lot of people get on me for not calling him a true running back because he's not a true running back in my honest opinion. But I love Alvin Kamara as a player, as a football player. That man is scary to defend, man. He lines up anywhere. Okay. I'm not really afraid of Alvin Kamara too much running the ball. Besides in between the tackles type running, I don't think he's much of a great running back in doing that when watching him on film. But man, when this guy hits the corner and turns the field, he is so slippery. And this is one of the reasons why I compared my player comp for Kadarius Toney in college was Alvin Kamara. Although they play different positions, they play so similarly. So if anybody in the stream doesn't watch a lot of Alvin Kamara, I'm pretty sure you've watched Kadarius Toney because your team just drafted him and you watch
Mhm.
highlights of Kadarius Toney. Think of Kadarius Toney, but more slipperier, just better, more elusive, faster, possibly. Who knows? Kamara is and stronger for sure. Stronger. He's bigger than Kadarius Toney, and he's just as agile. Okay, it's a reason. There's a reason why a lot of people were excited for Kadarius Toney, and that's because of his ability when he has the football in his hands. Same thing with Alvin Kamara, and that's the scary part. I don't think anybody should be fearing him as a true runner inside the tackles, but people should be fearing him as just a weapon because that's one thing the Giants do struggle with. Look at Cordero Patterson. All right, Cordero Patterson is one of those guys that was put at running back, put at wide receiver, can do a lot of things. We struggled so bad against that. Like we handled Mike Davis. He was fine. He was fine. We can handle the running backs. It's the guys that can play multiple positions. And a guy like Alvin Kamara is one hell of a player. Authentic says 6 TDs. Authentic. I remember that game because I had him on most of my fantasy
Yeah.
leagues, man. I was like, keep racking them up, baby. Keep racking them up. But yeah, Alvin Kamara has that potential. 6 touchdowns in the game. Has that, like, that's something quarterbacks do. And he's doing it as a running back slash receiver. I mean, he's scary, man. He's scary. He's just a tier down from Christian McCaffrey. He's a tier down from Christian McCaffrey, but they do the same exact thing. Christian McCaffrey's more of an actual running back, like a straight up running back, but Alvin Kamara is nasty, dude. Nasty. That's the one guy I fear on offense. Jameis Winston, I think in the past, like I've been to a lot of Tampa games, like when he was with Tampa, because I live in the Tampa area, watched a lot of Tampa games when we faced Jameis Winston. He's not that impressive, in my honest opinion. I mean, he could definitely sling the ball, but he makes a lot of mistakes. Hasn't made too much of mistakes with the Saints, and got bailed out of a mistake that Marcus Callaway catch. But I don't fear Jameis Winston as much as I probably should, but I definitely don't fear his weapons besides Alvin Kamara. So that's the only thing I'm hanging on to, Kush. That's the
Mhm.
only, and the fact that the Saints play man defense and Daniel Jones is good against man defense. But like you said, if we can't get yards of separation, what's the point? You know. So that's the only thing I'm holding on to. Offensive weapons for the Saints, and that the Saints play man defense, and Daniel Jones plays well against man defense. That's pretty much the only takeaways I have before going into this game.
I mean, just give me a preview, I guess.
I mean, you give me your preview.
Uh, Whew. Our defense,
Absolutely right,
which
Diggy.
has been complete misses in week 1 and week 2. I guess a little bit of a hit in week 3, but once again, we're talking about Atlanta here, so but they did do good. They didn't let up 30 points or anything. They let up 17. Going up against the Saints, which let me pull up their offense real quick. Just give me a quick second here. Pull up the 2021 Saints offense. So if we go over here, where is it?
What up, Diggy? What up, Authentic? If I didn't say what up already, man, what's going on, you two? You guys subscribe to Authentic. He's not using his channel that he uses for video making, but you guys subscribe to Authentic in the Beard and subscribe to Diggy546 as well.
So currently, the Saints are the 14th ranked offense in the NFL in terms of passing offense. Whoa, where are they?
They shouldn't be that
Wow,
high.
they are the 31st overall passing offense in the
The only
NFL.
reason for that is that they're very efficient and that remember Jameis Winston threw it for those 5 touchdowns, but only threw for like 150 yards. So that's the reason why. But if they're very efficient, that shouldn't matter.
Rushing offense wise, where are they? Should be high up. They're 9th overall. Now, if we go with scoring and we rank this by scoring here, points put forward. Yep, they're 14th with 73 points, and yards put forward, they drop all the way down to 31st. They're just a very efficient offense, like you're saying. So basically, all that tells me is once they get into the red zone, they're going to score no matter what. And the Giants' red zone defense hasn't been the greatest this
They're
season.
definitely bend but do not break, but then break.
Yeah, they break
they're
a lot.
They're like, listen, guys, our game plan, we're gonna play soft cushion cover 3 the whole time, even on 3rd down and 3, where we give 7 yards of separation and allow a 3-yard slant. We're gonna do that the whole drive. And guess when we get to the red zone, we're gonna switch it up and give 6 yards of separation instead of 7. And we're gonna stick to that cover 3 in the red zone and allow a touchdown. That's
Diggy's in here as well. I just peep. What up, Diggy? How you doing?
And don't forget, the Giants are on a streak right now. Let's see if they can continue the streak of allowing touchdowns before the half. Let's remember that. 3 for 3. 3 for 3.
Yes.
Cheers to that.
Hey, yo, highlight T6's comment real quick, bro. There's somebody in this comment that I've been talking about.
Paulson Adebo. Didn't he get hurt?
Did he?
Hurt? No, he was hurt like earlier. He was hurt. I don't think he's on the injury report. But wasn't he hurt earlier in the season? I could be wrong, T6. I thought I saw.
All I'm saying is if we drafted Paulson and Debo, we wouldn't need to sign Adoree Jackson. We probably could have kept.
He also picked off Aaron Rodgers in that Week 1 game.
That is true. But yeah, like
somebody else,
even I could look all these stats all I want, bro, and I could like analyze stuff. But I'm be honest with you, we're looking at a team that's way better than us. All right, a team that's better than us, obviously in coaching. I don't think it's even close. And a team whose players show up and they play better than our players. Overall, a team that's a good team versus a team that's a bad team. Bad teams find a way to lose. That's what it is. All right.
They invent their own ways to lose.
They invent their own way to lose. And this is at the Superdome. The Giants historically are terrible at the Superdome. Now
we had that classic at the Superdome,
and we still lost.
And we still lost, but I mean that was a freaking classic.
I know, but we can't win at the Superdome to save our lives.
Right, that's one of my favorite games ever, but we lost. I mean, obviously there's no Eli, there's no Drew, so it's Jameis and it's the new generation, Jameis and Jones, but. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I mean, the only positive sort of things I'm looking forward to, like I said, is the lack of offensive weapons with Jameis Winston. He doesn't throw for a lot of yards. We pretty much just have to guard Kamara. Listen, I'm going to let Marcus Callaway beat us before I'm going to let Alvin Kamara beat us. I want to focus on Kamara, stop him. If they have to force the ball to Marcus Callaway for them to win the game, then I'm doing that. And then defensively, like I said, Daniel Jones, if we just get the chance to get these routes opening up, it's going to be very hard with Cam Jordan and Marcus Davenport coming off the edges. They don't have Sheldon Rankins anymore.
I don't got faith on that right side.
Right. They don't have Sheldon Rankins anymore. Who do they have instead? Is it I don't know. I don't know who they have.
I could quickly pull up the Saints.
Yeah, is Onyemata still there? I could be wrong.
So you're talking defensive line, right?
Yeah, D tackle. I know Cam Jordan.
So they got Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson.
How's that?
Marcus Davenport is on IR.
Marcus Davenport's on IR?
According to ESPN, Shai Tuttle and Christian Ringo.
Who the hell are those people?
Because David Onyemata is suspended.
Oh my God! So listen, if we can stop, if Andrew Thomas can keep Cam Jordan from getting to Daniel Jones. Well, that depends if Cam Jordan lines up on the left or right side.
I don't know
too much about that.
Solar, bro.
But if somehow we can keep Cam Jordan grounded and we can allow these routes to open up versus man defense, I have no doubt that Daniel Jones could pick them apart. I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to throw for 300 yards. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But the fact that he's not going against a zone team and a team that can disguise the zone, that's something he really struggles with and has always struggled with. if you can get the opportunity to make plays and have his receivers make plays as well, get those routes open, we could have a chance of scoring in this game. I'm not gonna say we could have a chance of winning this game because I don't think we're gonna win this game, but I want to see. It sucks at this point because we had so many expectations, but I want to see improvement. I mean, I hate saying that because this is a year where we thought that this team was going to make a playoff run, and we thought that this team was somewhat complete, maybe missing some pieces, but somewhat complete. Teams have gone further and looked better at this point of the season and further on in the season with a far less talented team on paper. I mean, look at our team on paper. It's not bad at all. Like, if you take away the New York Giants name and you give the roster to any fan of a team in the NFL, that's like, this is a pretty damn good team you got here. And it's like we can't do anything with it. Atlanta Falcons, 14 points? Man, I don't know.
Washington scored 30 on us. Like,
yeah.
I will say this: it's crazy because there's actually fans of other teams that think that they're worse than us. But I'm like, I don't see it, man. You ain't 0-3. Like, I've seen a lot of Washington fans give up on their team already. I'm like, yo, y'all gotta win. Y'all have one win, bro.
One thing I will tell you. I said this. You even know I said this before the season started, Coach. I said that Washington defense is not going to be as good as people say they were. Yeah. I said every year they're always coming in as one of the best because they got all the Alabama guys. Every year their front seven ranks top 5 or something like that. I'm looking at every year their front seven is always so looked after and like, oh my God, look at Cameron Payne and Daron Payne and freaking Montez Sweat, and now they got Chase Young and back when Ryan Kerrigan was there, like their front seven was always on the billboards, like there's some great thing. But now they got a secondary together and people think they're the best defense ever. I knew they were going to struggle. I knew it. I said that before the season started. Yeah.
Like both of ours are just like overrated. Yeah. And then now it's them being overrated plus coaching, playing Leonard Williams out of his position, plus God damn, there's so many. Listen, I'm so tired of talking about my team be bad. How about I ask you this? How can they be good this week? How in the world can they sneak a win out?
One thing I will tell you is get the players on the field that make the most plays. Stop with this stupid rotation thing. If a player isn't playing well, take him out the freaking game. Okay. Although I like Lorenzo Carter, I like O'Shane, they're not producing. Azeez Ojulari is producing, and he's never on the field. But when he is on the field, he's getting sacks. Okay, he's getting pressures. We don't see Azeez Ojulari on the field that much. Well, I don't know if it's a rookie thing because I don't know if Joe Judge is trying to play a freaking Bill Belichick type thing and just not play the rookie. But you got to play Azeez Ojulari while he's hot. You got to play Azeez Ojulari. And Sunday, thank you so much for promoting the gear too. I appreciate that. I gotta update that, but I appreciate that, Sunday. But yeah, play the guys, get Kenny Golladay involved. Like, just involvement is my biggest thing to going into this game. That's where I really want. Stupid webcam. I want involvement. Kenny Golladay, get him involved. Kadarius Toney, get him involved. If they fail, then let them fail because we got them involved, dude. Let's see what we have in them. Don't play scared. Saquon Barkley, if he's not running right, take him out and put a real running back in there, not Elijah Penny. All right? I'm so pissed off we got rid of Corey Clement because although a lot of people are like, well, Corey Clement fumbled and stuff like that, he still had the ability to compensate with how bad this offensive line is. Like, people think I was just like freaking simping for Corey Clement. The reason why I like Corey Clement so much and the reason why I like him more than Devontae Booker is because Devontae Booker is not a guy to create his own plays and make his own holes, okay? That's something Corey Clement was able to do. He was able to be shifty in the backfield like a Saquon Barkley, but actually run forward and create his own. And when he hits the corner, he's hard to catch. Devontae Booker is like Rashad Jennings, okay? Devontae Booker is a guy like Rashad Jennings where, he's going to, find the hole, hit that hole, and just take the yards he can get because he's a big power back, right? I want a guy that can compensate for this bad offensive line because what did we see last week? No holes opening up for the offensive line, and when they did, obviously Saquon didn't take advantage of that. But when there's no holes on the offensive line, I want a guy that can make his own play, create his own lane to run through. And unfortunately, that's not something Devontae Booker could do. That's something Corey Clement definitely can do, and we got rid of him. And now we have 2 fullbacks on the roster still. So there's that. Um, Gallman, KB, say it with me. I wish we could have kept Gallman. Had I known we weren't going to use Devontae Booker and he was going to be a healthy scratch in the first in one of the first 3 weeks of the season. Had I known that, I would have been all on board with keeping Gallman. All on board.
Listen, well, how's he doing in San Fran right now? Actually, does anybody
Oh,
have that?
dude, he got cut by San Fran in the preseason. He was with Atlanta, but he was inactive last week. I wanted to see him against us. I really wanted to see him against us,
I mean,
but
if he
he's
can't make
inactive.
two teams rosters, I don't know what that says about the player.
Well, I think he just got put in with Atlanta last week. I don't know if he's on their practice squad or their active roster. I could be wrong. I think he's on their active roster, but I don't think they're playing him yet. But as far as San Fran goes, I mean, they had a lot. They got a lot of running backs. I mean, they got
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And Kyle Shanahan is very specific of what he wants. I don't think it was a talent thing. I just think San Fran just had way too much. They bit off way too much than they can chew. They got a lot of running backs in there, and they're still. And I think they wanted the more younger guys too. They got like Elijah Mitchell and Jermichael Hasty in there. Like these guys are young playmakers. I think that's what they wanted. But they cycle through running backs every year. Remember Matt Breida?
Mm-hmm.
Raheem mostly got hurt, but Tevin Coleman. Not Tevin Coleman. Yeah, Tevin Coleman was with them.
Yeah, he was with them.
Yeah, and so they cycle through running backs every year. I hope Wayne Goldman has a good career, but I don't think he's terrible.
All right, we talked a lot about the Giants and our pain. How about we go around the NFL? Let's go
Yeah.
right to our neighbors, the Jets. Who's in more pain, us or them?
Here's the thing: the Giants are in more pain because the Jets are just used to this. I have a Jets fan in my job, and he saw the first two picks that Zach Wilson threw. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I know where this is going." He said he didn't watch it past halftime. He said it was a normal Sunday for him. I mean, this is what the Jets go through. Think about this: the Giants are not used to really trying to develop a quarterback, right? How many quarterbacks did the Jets run through? Like even first round quarterbacks. I mean, that all the time. So this is not anything new to them. So although they are worse than the Giants, they're not in more pain than Giants fans because this is a normal Sundays for them, normal football Sundays for them. So I mean, it sucks to be a Jets fan, but I honestly respect them because we're kind of toxically loyal fans. We're loyal, but we're toxic. We are. Okay, let's be real. Jets fans are not that toxic, dude. If I see anything on YouTube, Jets fans are so positive about their team when they're like 0-13. I love it. I love it. And the biggest example of that is my guy Ian, Jet Central. Man, that guy loves his Jets and is always positive about those Jets, bro. But hey, it
How
is
do
what it
you
is.
how do
I
you
don't.
think shifting to another team that's 0-3? How do you think Colts fan feels right now?
They're in our position, but worse because they're a team that not only had like playoff aspirations or division aspirations, they had like Super Bowl aspirations, like within their circle. Of course, I don't think like me and you were thinking about Colts being a Super Bowl team, but within their own circle, they were thinking that they could make some sort of run here with Carson Wentz, and then Carson Wentz goes down and like the in practice, first day of practice, and was out those 5 to 12 weeks, and then that happens. But then he comes back and they play like crap. So I mean, it sucks to be a Colts fan right now. Like I honestly expected them to be a lot better at this point, at least 2-1, at least 2-1. I expected them to be. I thought they were going to pull off the win against the Seahawks. I hate the Seahawks are a terrible road team, and the fact they were able to pull that off against the Seahawks. I mean, no, the fact that they weren't able to pull that off against the Seahawks, I think, is frustrating for them. But yeah, the Colts are frustrated. Colts
The
fans.
Jags,
The Jags, man. I have a Jags fan on my
Urban
flag
Meyer
football
to
team.
USC.
Yeah,
Literally after week 1, I was like, huh? Y'all can't even get through a week, bro. Like, come on now.
yeah. I think Urban Meyer was weighing over his head, and it does hurt when you get Travis Etienne going down. But at the same time, you have to wonder. Of course, I'm not watching Jaguars games, so I don't even know. But I'm always skeptical of a college coach making a transition to the NFL, like especially a long time, like great college coach, because he has a system in place, right? And it's probably a very specific system that he knows he's had success with on another level. Probably maybe trying to do it with the Jags and it's not working. Trevor Lawrence is struggling. Like Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be the freaking prodigy and he's struggling. He is a rookie. I get it. Everybody wants to bring up Peyton Manning and how much he struggled. Okay. But this is a new NFL, dude. This is a passing league. All right. Trevor Lawrence is not doing well. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's Urban Meyer. But it's definitely not looking good in Jacksonville. So as far as that goes, Jaguars are another team that is so used to losing. It's like nothing new. Although I guess they're kind of shocked that they're not in a bet at least 1-2 right now because of Trevor Lawrence and the reemergence of James Robinson, who they probably should have kept as their starter anyway, and they wasted a pick with Travis Etienne. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they thought they were going to be in a better spot there, but nah.
Lions, the last 0-3 team, the Lions.
If you're a Lions fan, I don't think you should worry. I don't think the Detroit Lions are that bad. They stuck with it against San Francisco. I mean, they wound up, and as far as the score goes, it's like 41-33. They scored 33 points. They allowed 41 points, but they scored 33 points. Like they were competitive with San Fran. They almost, if it wasn't for Justin Tucker being a literal freaking demigod, all right. If it wasn't for Justin Tucker being a demigod with his leg, I mean, they would have beat the Baltimore Ravens, and they came back in that game because they were down like freaking 16-0 in that game.
Listen, bro, Dan Campbell out here eating kneecaps, bro.
He's eating them kneecaps, man, but he needs to eat more because they're 0-3. But if you're a Detroit fan, man, I got a couple. They exist. They exist. I know 2 or 3 of them. They should be happy with where their team is going. I don't think they're going to be doing much winning this year, but similar to Joe Judge's situation, just look for improvement with your leadership and your head coach. And that team should thrive.
Stan Albert, I'll keep that in mind, but like I don't think we're that big. I don't think anybody would know if we pop in who we are. I don't know.
Wait, what? So
he says after the stream, there's a vent set space going on. It's like Avengers Assemble with the content creators. I don't know. I don't think I'm that big where a lot of people would know if I pop in.
Oh, it depends who is on that stream.
Yeah. But continuing on, the flip side of the Lions, so you got Jared Goff in the Lions. Obviously, I'm going to talk about Matt Stafford in a second. What do you think about Jared Goff over there in the Lions?
What do I think about Jared Goff and the Lions?
Yeah, like how do you feel Jared Goff is doing?
Oh, I mean, I don't think he's better than when Matt Stafford was there, but he's definitely not doing terribly. I mean, people think, I don't know, because I'm a guy that is on the fence with Jared Goff. I like him more than other people do, but I definitely acknowledge his mistakes and his lack of ability that people hate him for. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I definitely don't think he was the best quarterback in that draft.
I mean, it's very clear Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Dak. Yeah, but Dak was a 4th rounder, so at the same time,
No, what we're talking about right now, it's very clear.
Yeah,
Dak was the best quarterback out there.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Jared Goff is doing fine, but there's always going to be that. There's always going to be that constant comparison to Matt Stafford because they were traded, with each other, and it's like you're paying Jared Goff more, but you got less talent. I mean, he's always going to be compared in that sense.
And then we are talked about Matt Stafford before he got traded there. He's doing pretty well. I mean, the Rams look very, very good.
Yo, Cooper Kupp is saying thank you. Cooper Kupp, you thought Cooper Kupp was good before? Yo, Cooper Kupp literally took all of Robert Woods' yards away. That man, Robert Woods, is non-existent on that team anymore. They used to be a tandem because Jared Goff used to share it. Throw a ball to Cooper, throw a ball to Robert Woods. Now it's all Cooper Kupp all day, and Cooper Kupp is thanking him for it. Matt Stafford, I said, was going to be a MVP candidate this year, and I think he will be. That man, I'm so happy for Matt Stafford. Been one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league for so long. Happy he's out of Detroit. Now he's with a team that actually can play up to his talent level, and it's showing. He is 3-0, and sky's the limit for that team. They are definitely Super Bowl contenders. And I think if it came down to it, they're going to go back to the Super Bowl. If they meet Tampa again in the playoffs and they get home field advantage again, you saw the slaughter that happened against Tampa this week. It was 34-24, but don't be fooled, guys. The Rams slaughtered the Buccaneers. If it happens again, Matt Stafford, I think is primed to make a Super Bowl run with that team.
I don't really have any other questions unless you do.
Not really. I
Maybe
mean,
final score predictions for the Saints Giants game. I like what
oh
Ligma
yeah,
said. Saints 27-13, identical to the week one
that's
score.
yeah
I
that
could see that happening.
that sounds very very realistic at this point. Saints slaughtered the Bucks. When? I mean, they slaughtered them last year, right? They didn't even play them this year, did they?
I don't think
No, they
anything
didn't play
this
him
year.
this year. They didn't play him this year. But Saints slaughtered. No, they didn't slaughter them. 21-7. So no field goals. T6. No field goals. You're gonna give us a touchdown? I like it. Thanks, bro. Cookie Monster
Yeah,
says,
I
"You
don't
like
know
my
about
new
that. No
color?"
field goals, man.
Loving
Yeah,
it.
he's
Loving
green
it.
now for the Jets.
Oh, I gotcha. Gotcha. That's funny. That is funny. He just changed the hue up a little bit. Love it. So I mean that's pretty much it. We're near that 11 o'clock mark. I mean, we talked about a lot today. If you guys have any more questions, make sure you leave them there. Johnny Muno says, "Wish Matt Rule would have been the Giants coach. Look what he's doing with Carolina." He's doing well. He's doing well. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's no excuse I can say of why they're doing well if it wasn't with him. So you're absolutely right. He's turning that team around. And look, Matt Rule has a resume of doing that, turning teams around. If it wasn't in his first year, because he had a first year that probably wasn't as good as Joe Judge's first year, but look what he's doing now, 3-0 with Sam Darnold, a competent quarterback. So,
And I love what Carolina's defense is doing. They're really a great surprise. I was a
and
big fan of Brian Burns in 2019. I wanted the Giants to draft him. That man literally went one pick before us. I
yeah,
have my draft videos out there. I'm like, get Brian Burns. He's looking great.
you know who else they took?
Who?
Hassan Riddick. They
They
signed
have
Hassan
Hassan
Riddick.
Riddick. There's also another guy from
He's
last
got
year,
3
Jeremy
sacks.
Chin. I wanted us to draft
Yeah.
Jeremy Chin last year. He's a defensive stud over there. That Carolina defense just looks great.
Hassan Riddick has 2 or 3 sacks right now, and he's playing well. I would have loved for us to sign him. He was one of my big free agent wish list guys, along with Kenny Galladay. I really would have wished if they would have just signed those 2 players, I would have been straight okay with that. Giants will play it close. I think we will get this 28-24. Authentic. I love the confidence. I love the. Let me get the super chat real quick. Taco Nacho, cool name, says, "Missed it. Thoughts on Wilson? Thomas playing great. Yeah, Thomas playing great. We covered it. That was one of the first topics we covered just because it's the most recent news right now. So we pretty much talk about we like Wilson. We're not going to say he's going to save this offensive line. We're not even going to say he's going to make the offensive line. But it's a step in the right direction, a step of trying to improve this offensive line, and we like it. There's no risk involved, no matter what Pat Leonard has to say. But if you have anything to add to that."
Nothing much for me to add. It's literally we signed him to the practice squad. We gave this man basically no money. If he works out, he would be one of the biggest steals of the decade. We're going from one of the biggest busts of the decade. If he doesn't, once again, we signed him with basically no money. So it's not like we're going to lose anything much.
And thank you so much for supporting the channel, Taco Nacho, with the $2 super chat. I got to go back to this comment. Authentic. Really? Authentic. What you smoking, bro? What you in your cup, bro? I want to have whatever you smoking up, bro, because I mean, I want to have that confidence, Authentic. I know every team is always due for some sort of surprising win, but man, I can't see it. Not this week. Not this week. We cannot flat out beat the Saints 28-24 and we lost to the Falcons. I'll be so pissed. I think I'll be pissed that we win this game 28-24. I will be
Isn't that what the Giants do, though?
That's what they do, but
that's what they do.
It's like, okay, if you're gonna do this and win 28-24, win that Atlanta game, and we will be 2-2. How about you do that,
bro? That's literally what the Giants do, bro.
Like, forget about Denver, forget about Washington. Washington was a heartbreaker. I almost cried that game midstream, dude. But forget about those 2 games. Atlanta, if you would have won Atlanta, I would have been okay. Obviously, been freaking ecstatic that you won against New Orleans. But if we beat New Orleans, and then the fact that we lost to Atlanta in the way we did, I think I would be more pissed than I am excited. Because I'm like, This has to be a fluke.
I'm gonna be
This
pissed
has to
because
be
I'm
a
like,
fluke.
yo, we're gonna lose week 5.
Yeah, right. It's like, all right, all our luck just washed away.
Yeah.
All the luck just washed away. Oh man, authentic. I hope so, dude. I hope so, my
Oh,
guy.
Carlos Sancho's got a good question there.
He said, ask this to Pest at Hub. If DJ plays the way he is, do you think we keep him next season? And what do you do with the 2 first-round picks? Personally, I think we draft an offensive line and trade second for a future first.
No matter what, I'm gonna say this right now. Whether we keep DJ or not, I'm not using any of those first round picks on a quarterback. I'm
Thank
using
you.
one of them on a lineman, and I'm using one of them on a pass rusher. No matter what happens at the quarterback position, build up both your lines. Actually, build up both your lines and build them up strongly before you bring a quarterback here. That's what I'll
Now,
say.
if the Giants are in a position where they are bottom 10 of that draft selection, would you combine your 2 first-round picks to try to get up there and get Kayvon Thibodeau?
Not necessarily because there's a lot of pass rushers in this class.
Gotcha.
There's a
Gotcha.
from what I've
And
heard
let
from
me
people that
tell you
actually took a
guys,
look at it, there's a lot.
let me tell you, I know a lot of people talking about Malik Willis. I got to do some film on him. I didn't like Spencer Rattler coming into this college season, and now he literally got booed off the field at Oklahoma. This man's not being drafted in the first round. I know a lot of people think he's the next Patrick Mahomes just because he's coming from Oklahoma and he looks like Patrick Mahomes, but he's not the next Patrick Mahomes, okay? And I will stand here corrected if one day he comes up and be a great quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. He got booed off the field at Oklahoma, all right? He's not good. He's not good. You going to Comic Con? Oh, snap.
Next Thursday.
Nice. Nice.
Yes, sir.
Excited?
A little bit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I've never been, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. Amazing guy says, sorry, Wilson, I left guard and pair right tackle. What are you
I've
talking
seen
about?
that a couple times in the chat. I mean,
Yeah.
yo, like we said, we didn't know where he at. He played one game. I'm not opposed to it. He's played
Yeah,
literally
but
one game as an NFL
I
lineman.
know I know he's a bigger tackle, right? He's not the
350, 6'6".
right. He's like not much of like the slimmer guy like Andrew Thomas is, but I don't think I'm putting him at guard though. I don't know
But
how I
like I
feel
said, bro,
about
I'm not
that.
opposed to it because yo, he's played one game in the NFL. Maybe
I
he is better suited
feel
at guard.
I feel you, but damn, I really want to secure that tackle spot, and I I don't know. I like trying to get Andrew Thomas and Isaiah Wilson back to their college days together and in that tackle tandem, but is what it is, dude. Is what it is. But we're gonna get ready to wrap this up now, guys. Great stream, fantastic stream. Thank you all for coming out. Hub, do you have anything you want to say? Promote anything? Any final thoughts or
Nothing
comments?
much. I mean, I know I haven't made a skit in about 3 weeks. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm too sad to make a skit, but
I know,
also
right? It's like, what the hell do you do? You just be crying while you're making a script,
right.
dude.
But also what you would call it because just because I'm busy now, you know what I'm saying? I'm in my senior year of college,
Mm,
second to last semester. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just really busy most of the time right now.
right. I feel you on that. Taco Nacho, another $2 super chat here. Why is Jason here? Judge is pissing me off. Post game. Fire.
I don't know, man. I
I don't
can't answer that question.
I don't know, but at the same time, a lot of people bring up a good point. Like it's if I mean here's the thing with Jason Garrett. A lot of people are like, oh, if you're gonna fire Jason Garrett, you gotta fire Patrick Graham too. Well, Patrick Graham saved us last season, so he gets a little bit of a mulligan for the start of the season. Jason Garrett has not improved at all. I know we talked about it earlier how a lot of people are complaining that we're shifting the blame from Jason Garrett, and I mean that we're not shifting the blame from Jason Garrett and pointing it towards Patrick Graham. And we said it already talking Nacho. I don't know if you caught it, but the reason why nobody's really letting off the pedal on Jason Garrett is that last year it was actually Patrick Graham's defense that saved us last year. Now Patrick Graham's defense is struggling, and Jason Garrett's offense can't save us. So
Hmm.
they've always been the damsel in distress, and even when the hero is nowhere to be seen, they cannot step up. So they've always been the liability, and the fact that everybody is now blaming defense because defense is not here to save us. Now they want to point the blame to Patrick Graham, and in my opinion, he gets a little bit of a mulligan. I'm not saying he doesn't get blamed, not saying that, but the fact that you want me to point my blame in away from Jason Garrett is stupid. I'm not doing that. I'm putting the blame on everybody. Everybody's getting fired at, baby. Everybody's getting fired at. But
Uh,
Kibuha, what do you have to lose? What do you have to? I guess you don't want a team to completely fall apart mid-season. Although this is a season where they might blow everything up and fire everybody, at this point, ride it out to the end of the season and then fire everybody at the same time and just restart. Like we've obviously had that problem, like we mentioned earlier with Jason Garrett. I mean, with Dave Gettleman. With Dave Gettleman being kept around and Pat Shermer being fired, them trying to rebuild with that, you have to just restart. You got to restart. I know a lot of people love Joe Judge. A lot of people either love Dave Gettleman. I love Dave Gettleman, but you got to just restart, rebrand. And of course, that means if you rebrand and you get new guys in there, and you get new GM, new coach in there, obviously that puts Daniel Jones on the hot seat. But I am for the New York Giants. I'm not for Dave Gettleman. I'm not for Joe Judge, and I'm not for Daniel Jones. I love those guys. I love all three of them. I wish they could have been a trio to the end, but I'm a New York Giants fan the most. Okay, I want the New York Giants to succeed, not an individual person. Whatever that makes the team successful, I want them to do. So, yep, yep,
That's
yep,
a
yep.
pretty good place to close out, though, man. I basically
Yeah,
agree with most of what you've been saying. Yeah, now we officially hit the 11 o'clock mark. But
yeah.
yeah, guys, thank you guys for tuning in, man. You guys have been great as usual.
Yeah, and make sure you guys subscribe to the hub. Link is in the description below. You guys know who he is, so there's no introduction there. And make sure you guys subscribe to the other content creators as well that popped in the stream, like Diggy, Authentic in the Beard, a
Ash was in
couple.
here earlier
Ash
too.
Money was in here. I'm trying to scroll up real quick, see if anybody else popped up. Make sure I don't miss them, but I don't see anybody right now. So that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining in. You guys were awesome. Great stream. We'll be back next week on the Hubs channel. And hopefully we'll be discussing a New York Giants win. So
We'll
that
see.
being said, guys, yeah, go Giants. Yeah. And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.